Champions Trophy 2025 predictions.
Number 1, February 19th, we have Pakistan versus New Zealand, and that's going to be in Karachi. So, Abraz, I'm going to throw it on to you. What do you think? What do you think this game is going to be about? Who's going to win?
We recently had a Pakistan-New Zealand game. At the time of this recording, we're going to have another Pakistan-New Zealand game in the finals. We haven't had that game yet, so we don't know the result of that game. But the one that happened in the first game of the Tri-Nation Series, New Zealand picked up a win. But, you know, it's Pakistan, it's their home ground. They've already faced that loss now. I think they're going to be able to turn it around. Obviously, we have another game between them in a couple of days, but I think in that opening game, the pressure is going to be high, but they've already felt what it's like to play against New Zealand in their home ground just recently, and I think they won't let New Zealand take a win over them. So my pick is Pakistan for this game. Who do you have, Sam?
So, yeah, as you said, we just had this Tri-Nation Series. First game, it was to New Zealand. Second game, Pakistan actually succeeded in their highest ever successful ODI chase. It was 356 or something of that sort.
Against South Africa, yeah.
Now we have that final, so it's a bit odd. We're having 3 games with New Zealand and Pakistan, so it's a lot of warm-up between them. They're fired up. They want to start off on a high note, and you see that momentum now. We had that recent cancellation of Saim Ayub from that squad, that explosive batsman, but I think they're finding their rhythm once again. So I'm also going to back it up. I'm going to say it's Pakistan who's going to win against New Zealand. So moving on to the next game, Bangladesh versus India. In my opinion, despite Bumrah not being in that team, they do have Harshit Rana, a new bowler. He's only played 2 ODIs. He did pick up a couple of wickets, but not the best economy. But despite all of that, I think this is India. It's gonna be a walk in the park for them.
No, I'm just gonna straight up say it as well. I'm not gonna go into any analysis here. India should be winning this. We've had a lot of pundits talk about it, and even though as Bangladeshis it hurts to admit, but Bangladesh are the odd ones out in this tournament. From a neutral point of view, India should be winning this game in Dubai.
Moving on to another big fixture, 2 teams that win hearts often. And like I said, these are 2 teams that win hearts often, but not trophies. Afghanistan versus South Africa. Abraz, who do you have on this one?
Afghanistan are strong, but I have South Africa just by a bit, just from that experience of their team. We talked a little bit about their star players in our previous video, but for me, it's got to be South Africa for me. I think they're just gonna have a little bit more than Afghanistan. But yeah, it's gonna be a close one. I don't think it's gonna be a very
absolutely
one-sided match.
No, I agree with that. But however, big news in both teams. AM Hazanfar is not playing for Afghanistan, and Andre Nokia is not playing for South Africa. So I think Nokia, he's been quite lethal for South Africa as of late in these ODI games.
We've got a lot of pace bowlers missing this tournament.
A lot of pace bowlers missing. So that's interesting. So definitely, given that, I'm gonna have to back up Afghanistan on this one. Because yeah, interestingly, I don't think South Africa are in that right mentality. Demba Bavuma, he's a captain who runs away when he hears that he's facing Australia.
Hiding in the bathroom.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna have to back up Afghanistan. I think Rashid Khan, these players, they're really used to these type of pitches that they're playing in. So it's gonna be close, but I'm gonna have to give Afghanistan on this one.
All right, well, there's our first difference between you and I. Moving on to the other game in Group B, Australia, England. We've got Ashes in Lahore. Who do you have for this one?
So once again, big news with Australia. We don't have Hazelwood, we don't have Stark, and we don't have Pat Cummins, arguably their second most successful captain in Australia history.
But do you think that's enough for England to be able to beat Australia?
Now that's where my point is. I still think, that is what Australia is. That is how deep their lineup, how well-rounded their players are. I still think Australia is going to win. You have
I'm with you.
Yeah, they
I'm
have
absolutely with
likes
you
of
on
Travis
this one.
Head, some all-rounders coming in with Matt Short, as we mentioned before. So it's just an unbelievably strong team and unbelievably good
Yeah,
form as well.
we're talking about Aussie bowlers missing, but I don't think English batsmen have been very good in the shorter formats recently
Ben
either.
Stokes is not in the squad, so
Yeah, so
you
I mean,
know.
I see Australia winning this one. There we go. We've got match day 1 done for Group A and Group B. You see the tables for both Sam and I at the moment. This is how we have it going. So second match day, we start off in Dubai with the one everyone's waiting for.
Absolutely.
The tournament, the game that basically ICC builds the tournament around. They build every tournament around.
Yeah.
The one that's going to be sold out, the one that is unfortunately not in Pakistan, which that's a different issue. Pakistan, India.
Well,
Who do we have?
I mean, Netflix just released recently. It's dubbed the greatest rivalry, Pakistan versus India. However, if you look at the stats in ICC tournaments, I think Pakistan, they've only won like twice against India. So, or something of that sort. And so I'm going to have to back up India in this one. Despite Bumrah not there, Muhammad Shami is there. And I think he's going to be that key figure in that match.
You know what? I know what you mean. Like, it's especially with the game being in Dubai as well, it's going to be an advantage for India in this game, and history doesn't show, but I think Pakistan is going to get this win. I think that they're just going to have enough this time round. I think the fact that they aren't being able to host this game in their own country is going to be a sort of a fuel for them.
And they are defending champions, right?
Defending champions. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Defending champions, although that was 8 years ago, there's a feeling of betrayal with this game not being held in Pakistan. Another one we've gone differently, but I think Pakistan are going to win this game.
Moving on, we have Bangladesh versus New Zealand in Rawalpindi Express. We all know that cricket player. So, Abraz, who do you have?
I'm gonna have to go New Zealand again. I have to go for a Bangladesh loss for a second game in a row. I don't think they have that form that they did maybe half a decade ago. Young squad. I don't even want to say young squad, but it's an inexperienced squad. Not the greatest squad in an ICC tournament for Bangladesh. We've got a couple of experienced players in there in the mix, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. We've been seeing the scores in this Tri-Nation series with New Zealand, Pakistan, and South Africa, and they're all really high scoring games, 300 plus. Bangladesh, they're more of a 280 kind of team, 290, low 300s, and they just haven't been able to grow out from that. And I think New Zealand will have the upper hand.
No, I definitely, I hear what you're saying here. I was a bit leaning towards Bangladesh before this Tri-Nation series because we mentioned that New Zealand has not have had that ODI experience over the past year. They haven't been playing much, but it seems that it really made no difference. They're still, lethal. They're still playing well in that team. They're able to go to the 300 plus with ease against some big names. So I'm going to have to back up New Zealand on this one. Bangladesh, as you said, it's an inexperienced squad, and arguably their greatest ever player, Shakib Al Hasan, is not in that squad. So it is going to be New Zealand, in my opinion.
But with that, we move into Group B, match day 2, a game which is going to be the World Test Championship final in a few months' time. Australia, South Africa. Now, this is going to be a fun one, I think. It's obviously, I think we both agree that Australia are, on paper, the better team. But we've talked about South Africa being an unpredictable team, and on top of that, we've talked about Australia missing some of their key players. So it's going to be a close one. I've had my pick for Australia here. It's just going to have a bit too much for South Africa. It's going to be a close one for sure. But I think it's going to be Australia.
I'm actually going to go a bit different on this one because honestly, after that trifecta pace, 3 of their key players being dropped from the team, not in the Champions Trophy, South Africa, in my opinion, just might capitalize and have that edge against Australia. So honestly, I think players like Jansen, Markram, I mentioned, they're all fired up. I think South Africa, they just might capitalize and they're going to win that. So I'm gonna have to back up South Africa on this.
No, I don't blame you for that either. Like I don't think it's a bad choice either way. I think this one's gonna be a close game and could be go either way. So I mean, yeah, I can totally see South Africa defeating Australia in that game, but excited for it. But then I think this next one is also one that is exciting. I don't know for you, Sam, but Afghanistan versus England in Lahore. I don't know who you're picking, but I've got Afghanistan for this one. I think.
Like, I want to say England, but Afghanistan is a team which I think the viewers should know. It's one that I secretly support. you know, I, I really like their team, and I really like how they've been developing in these big tournaments. They have a good momentum going on.
Yeah.
And especially because I predicted Afghanistan to beat South Africa. So if they carry on that momentum, if that prediction is true, I'm going to have to back up Afghanistan winning this game as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, well, England are just off of a 3-0 loss against India. And they've been completely outplayed in the series that just concluded. And, I think with them on that decline and Afghanistan on that incline, I think we're in for a surprise here. This is the upset that I've got for the tournament. Afghanistan defeating England, and I think you've picked the same thing, and it's exciting. It's exciting because I know that Afghanistan are gonna be a team to watch out for at this point in the tournament. I mean, at the looks of it on your table right now, they're topping the table after 2 games. So it's
big hopes on this team.
Yeah, 2 out of 2 wins in their first 2 games. So I mean, we'll see what happens. But I think Afghanistan are going to have a decent tournament coming off of a couple of good ICC tournaments already. Let's move on now to the third match day, where we start with Bangladesh and Pakistan.
This one's got history as well, hasn't it? This one's got history as well.
Quite a lot. Yeah, it's I feel like even until a few years ago, these two teams sort of were on a similar level. I mean, Pakistan historically have always been far ahead of Bangladesh, but there was a time when Pakistan were on a decline. Bangladesh were really doing good at that point, similar level. And then after that, Pakistan just shot up. I mean, they went
back to norm.
Really good team.
So this one, I mean, you said it best, right? Pakistan shot up. It's not really a contest, in my opinion, anymore. And it's just going to be Pakistan, right? It's a home game against Bangladesh. They're used to playing in these pitches. Their bowling is still strong, and Bangladesh is sort of weak in this position. So I think Pakistan is going to be a walk in the park for them.
You know what? I'm gonna go against the wave here, and I'm gonna say Bangladesh.
I see.
I'm gonna say Bangladesh, especially because I already have Pakistan winning 2 games, Bangladesh losing 2 games in my predictions so far, and I think last game Bangladesh will really want to end on a high. Pakistan will maybe get a bit of confidence in them, even though I think they are a better team. But I think maybe Bangladesh will be able to pull off 1 win in this tournament. I hope. Maybe this is my bias talking, but I'm going to pick Bangladesh for this game.
So we're moving on to the last game of the month of February, and that is Afghanistan versus Australia in Lahore. So, Braz, what do you think? Who's going to win this one?
Australia. I'm going to keep it simple. Afghanistan, great team. Australia, just on their own pedestal. I think Australia are going to get to
I'm a big Afghanistan supporter, but I'm just going to have to agree with you here. I think Australia, especially in the ICC tournaments, because we saw arguably the greatest innings by a player, Glenn Maxwell, injured. The way he turned that game around against Afghanistan, who were in a very winning position. It just goes to show that maybe at some points Afghanistan do not have that maturity to deal with pressure. So Australia, because they have that edge, arguably the greatest team. So yeah, Australia, I think they're going to win this one.
All right, moving on to the last game of Group B. It's going to be England versus South Africa. And it's going to be in Karachi, this game. I think once again I'm going to go for South Africa, just because I don't see England winning the game. I think they're in a very difficult position right now, and I think it's going to stay like that. So as you can see on my table, they've ended with 3 losses. Sam, who are you going for?
I'm going to say the same. England on 3 losses. It's going to be South Africa. Yeah. It's not anything against England, but just that the teams that they're playing against are in such better form right now. They're that much more balanced, while England, they've been clinging on to legacy players. Even key ones like Ben Stokes are not playing. So I don't think they really have it in them this tournament. So it might be a wake-up call for them this entire tournament. So I'm going to have to back up South Africa. So South Africa, for me, on my table, as you can see, they have 2 wins. So yeah, they're gonna finish strong on that one.
All right, so now we move into the last game of the group stages, and it's an interesting one from my end because it's a do or die match for both teams. With
Yes,
how I
yes.
have it set up, I think I've got both New Zealand and India on 1 win each. Sam, at the moment, it looks like you have India on 2 out of 2 wins, New Zealand on 1 out of 2 wins, so a must-win game from New Zealand for you. Who have you gone with in this one?
Yeah, despite India, they're on a decent form. I was gonna say that before this, these recent ODIs that have been happening in the Ranji Trophy, Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, who both went to find their form, got out for less than 20. Both of them, right?
That was difficult times for them. Difficult times.
Difficult times for them, and I also say that Bumrah's not in that team as well. And just based on this recent run of form, I'm going to have to bank with New Zealand here because they're looking much better than expected. So if they keep it up, I think they just might edge this game.
Absolutely. Now, I have gone with India because I believe that come out on top here. Like I said, for me in this case, it's a must-win game for both teams, and obviously in real life that might not be the actual situation, but India have been New Zealand have been India's kryptonite rather. So it's I think they overcame it in the 2023 World Cup in the semifinals, and I think they've gotten their rhythm going now, and I think they're going to be able to defeat New Zealand in this game.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's it.
one.
That's it for our group stages.